So in this video today, I'm going to show you how to set up your WooCommerce checkout form to have an order bump that looks like this, where you're upselling your user a product just before they place their order. And we're going to set up an A/B test so we can show this order bump here versus having a second variation of this checkout form where people go through the checkout process and then when they get to the end, there's no order bump. Because what if that conversion rate on your checkout page is being affected by that order bump? What if it's not actually increasing your overall profitability? What if it's negatively affecting your conversion rate? We don't want to make any assumptions here. We always want to go out and A/B test these things before we put them into practice, 100% of our traffic. So the easiest way to do this is using a plugin called WooFunnels. Now I'm going to leave a link in the description below. It is the best WooCommerce plugin that you can use in 2022. I stand by that. If you go read the page and look at all the videos that I've been releasing here on YouTube, hopefully you will feel the same. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to our WP admin menu area, and then under plugins, we're going to look at our installed plugins. When you go out and you buy the WooFunnels plugin, you get access to a second plugin for free. So it doesn't cost any extra money, and it's called A/B Experiments for WooFunnels. So you want to make sure you install this plugin here. Once you install that, under the WooFunnels menu area here, you get this experiments icon here. So we'll just click into this, and this is where you'd go and create your A/B experiments. Now, before we get into this, if we go to funnels, for this one here, I'm going to specifically focus on A/B testing the order bump in our global checkout, which is the normal checkout page that your users will reach after they add products to cart on your normal WooCommerce website and click to go to the checkout page. So in WooFunnels, that's called the global checkout. The alternative to the global checkout would be a sales funnel, where you design a sales page to sell a specific offer. Then people go from the sales page to the checkout page to buy that specific offer. So the exact same practice happens here to A/B test what we're doing now for the global checkout. You just repeat this process for a sales funnel. So we're not going to do both of them. We're strictly going to do the global checkout here, but I just wanted to clarify that before we proceed. So here for the global checkout, if I click into this, you can see that we have no order bumps added. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add an order bump. And here I'm going to do a belt. So we'll click add, and then here we'll add product. So we'll click into it, and then we'll add a product, and I'm going to do the belt like that, and we'll click add product. And I'm just going to leave these settings and we'll save changes. Now for the design, this is what it looks like out of the box with the WooFunnels plugin. I'm pretty happy with that. I generally don't change this at all. I might change the text here, obviously. So get our limited edition belt, only 100 made for 2022. You get the idea here. And then if we need to save this, so we'll go down and click save. You can change the product image there if you want. You have some merge tags here as well if you want to use them. Now, in case you're landing on this video and you don't already have WooFunnels, you can assign rules unto which this order bump will show. So you could say, for example, we'll add a rule where this order bump will only show if the cart total is over $100, or the products in the cart are only a specific item. So maybe somebody, if they have a t-shirt in their cart, then we just show this belt upsell. Otherwise, it's not output. But for this tutorial, we're not going to do that. So we're not going to play around with these rules. So this is actually ready to go now. So if we go back and we go to products, this is all set up. So if we go back to our funnel, we can see that the belt has been added here and grants global checkout step. If we go to settings and then checkouts, our global checkout form is grants global checkout. So let's go ahead and go to the front end, and we'll go to our shop page, and then let's just add a product to cart, and then we'll go down to the checkout page. So here's our checkout, and then we'll continue to shipping, scroll down the bottom, and there's our order bump. So that's going to be our control, our variant A. So let's go back and we're going to set up the experiment now. So back here under WooFunnels, we'll go to experiments, and then we'll add an experiment. So it's a checkout page experiment, save and continue. And then the original variant is going to be grants global checkout. And we're going to do order bump versus no order bump, like that. And we could do belt, and then we'll go create experiment. And then here we're going to duplicate the variant A. So everything's the same. Remember, with an experiment, you only want to change one thing, so you know that that one thing has caused the result in the experiment. So if we go to continue traffic, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to set it to equal weight, click update. And then here, I'm going to edit this one, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click edit, and we're just going to rename this, and we're going to go no order bump belt, like that. And we'll copy paste update. And then to hide this order bump, we're going to go to settings, and we'll go to custom CSS. And then here, if we go back to our form, we're just going to inspect element. and we're going to try and find the top container. So if you haven't done this before, you just need to hover on these until it highlights just the order bump, which is here, and it's a class. So we're going to copy this there, and then we'll come back here. And now I want to show you something as well. So we'll do style like this, and we'll paste that in there, and it's a class like that. So we'll do this, and we do display none, and we'll do important, just so it definitely doesn't work. Now let's save that. And I want to show you, because I want people to get into the habit of being, curious of how this stuff works. So if we go ahead and we save this, so a question that I had when I was doing this, I was like, do I need to actually put this into my own style tags, or does putting code in here output it into style tags? So let's go ahead and investigate. So if we go ahead and we preview, and we'll just copy this because we're going to search for it, and we're back here. If we go to view page source and we search for that text, you can see that style header CSS, and then our style code is output. So it by default puts it into a style tag, so we don't need to output our own. So if we go back to here, we can get rid of this, and now we know we only need to output CSS here. So let's click save, and then let's go ahead and preview this again. And then here's our checkout page, and we'll go continue shipping, and we'll scroll to the bottom, and we can see our order bump is not output. So we've gone ahead and set up this variation now with no order bump. So now that's all that's left to do is just to go back. So we're here, and we're going to go back to the experiment, and you just want to review this 50%. We know that we've tested and this is all ready to go. So we're going to click start, and we're going to click start now, and now that's running. So I'm going to give you some bonus content now, which is stuff that I use all the time. And when I go ahead and set up these experiments, I want to go into a private browser and just test. And I want to get variation A and variation B and just know that I've set up correctly and it's all working and it's affecting traffic in the way that I want. So how do we go out and in a private browser, see which experiments variation we're getting in our active session? I'll show you how to do that right now. But again, this is really useful. So if we go to a private incognito and then we add a product to our cart and then we proceed to checkout. So I'll just put in some details here and I'll continue to shipping. And then if we scroll to the bottom, this order bump is output. But what I'm curious about is I want to know, is this outputting the order bump because this one is showing, or is this one showing but our code is failing to hide that order bump? So how do we go about and check that to make sure that what we're seeing is in fact this one where the order bump should be showing? So the way to do that is if we go back to experiments, and then here's our experiment if we click into it. So here's our different variations. Now we're going to be using the URL up here, so we want to pay attention to how that changes when we click into an experiment. So if I click into this default experiment and I click and we have a look at what happens to the URL. So we're looking, and if we have a look over here, we have this ID. So ID equals 653 and this experiment reference is 11. So what this is telling us is that the experiment that we set up under here is the ID of 11. And I think this stands for checkout page ID. So WooFunnels something, checkout page ID equals 653. So if we keep in mind that 653 and 11 and we go back and then we click into this second one, 697 and 11, again, the experiment ID is 11, so it stays consistent between those two variations, but this is the ID for those two different variations. So knowing that, if we go back, this one here is 653. So if we go back to here and we inspect and then we go to application and then under cookies, you want to select your domain name and we can have a look here and we can see that for this code here, variation 11, 653, 653, and again, 653 down here. So we know using the code here that we're looking at for this session that the experiment variation 653 is actively affecting our session and 653 is our default checkout experience. So our order bump should be showing. So we know that this is working. Let's go ahead and we're going to close this now. And I've just started a new incognito browser. So we have a new session and let's go back to the checkout page. So we're going to add a product to cart and then we'll go down to proceed to checkout. Okay, I'm going to put in some dummy data here. The poor person who owns demo.com, they must get so many emails. Okay, so let's go down and this order bump is still showing. So if we have a look here and expect element and we go back to the application in here, 653 is being affected. So this is where if you aren't doing this, you might assume I'm sending 50% of traffic to here. So the first one, I got that variation. So the second one, I should get the second second one. So is it not working? And this is why this is so important to understand what I'm showing you here. Because if we were to go on that basis there, we'd say, oh, our experiment isn't working, but we've just used code to confirm that this is still 653, the variant. So what can we take away from this is that even though we set up 50% of traffic to go to variant A and variant B, WooFunnels won't just go 1, 1, 1, 1. It mixes up. It'll go 1, 1, and then it will go 1 here. And over time, it will average out close to 50 and 50, but it doesn't mean it goes one and then the other one and then the other. So that's what we need to understand here. And again, we've proven that using code. So let's close this. And I've gone back into incognito, started a new session, and we're going to go back to the checkout page, and we'll go proceed to checkout, and we'll put in our details, and we'll go continue to shipping. And if we scroll down, we can see there's no order bump there. So if we have a look, inspect element, we're going to go to application, cookies, our URL. So experiment 11, we can see that this is 697. And if we go back and then we click into the no order bump variant, we can see the URL has 697. So we can confirm using code that we are actively getting that variant, and we can see the order bump isn't showing. So we can go to bed and we can sleep easy knowing that our experiment is set up exactly how we want it, with an order bump showing and an order bump not showing. So I hope that helps everyone out there. If you got any value out of this, please consider liking this video. And I got this idea here from the WooFunnels Facebook group. I'm going to start picking some of the best questions out and making videos on them. If you have any questions about WooFunnels or Autonomy, please leave a comment on one of my videos and I'll look to make a video for you if it seems like it warrants its own videos. And if you want to learn more advanced techniques about WooFunnels and how to customize your checkout page, I would recommend watching this video here, where I start off by showing you how to create a Shopify checkout on the WooCommerce checkout page. And then I go more in depth and give you ideas of what experiments to set up for your checkout page, how to go and do them, and some things that you really need to understand while you're going and A/B testing your checkout form. So I'm going to leave a link to that video here. It's this one on the screen, but a lot of useful information in that, like the one that I've shown you in today's video.